Hey, y'all. Welcome to Simple Conversations. This is KJ.
Hey, and it's Alice. So pause us for a minute, grab you something to drink, come back, sit down, and be a part of this conversation.
Because we have a lot to say. Welcome to Simple Conversations. So, y'all, listen, this is our disclaimer. We're not here to give you any advice or tell you how to live your life.
Well, maybe just a little.
We're still trying to figure this thing out ourselves. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Simple Conversations where grace meets strength. Hey, Alice.
Hey, KJ.
How are ya?
I am good.
Good. So, listeners, we are here back with part 2 of our conversation that we have not titled yet.
I was waiting to see what you were going to say on
So we have not.
The questions that we have about air quote church. We'll just say that.
Yes.
When you're listening, we will have a title, but we don't know yet.
We don't know yet. Yeah. We just want to finish the conversation and get it out of our heads, right?
Oh my goodness, yes.
And not really finish the conversation, because I do believe that this may be an ongoing conversation for
all of our lives.
For all of our lives.
Yeah. As sand passes through the hourglass.
Yeah.
So are the days of our lives. Okay, so listeners, if you listened to part 1, if you didn't, you need to go back and listen to part 1 to help part 2 make sense in context. So we are talking about our experiences with the local church, churches that
not just in one church. Yes.
Right. Multiple churches that we've been a part of. So for me, 7 different churches over 22 years. And my family, we have not been a part of a local church since November of 2018 at this point. And this is April of 2021.
Yes, it is. So where will we start?
Okay, so let's pick up on, so these are some of the things that we don't understand. I don't understand why the local church, why more of them aren't more involved in the community. And not just like a food pantry, food pantry is a great start. Okay. Like that's a great start. But why not be smart and partner with organizations that, are already doing the work and doing it well? Don't recreate the wheel. Like go out into your community and partner with other churches. That's a, novel idea.
Right.
Churches that are maybe a different denomination or serve a different community than you do. Why has it got to be like competition, or because we don't all believe the exact same thing? I mean, like, do we love Jesus or not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Volunteer your time, your money, your gifts, partnering with other organizations. And I hate to see churches that are left empty all week long.
Yes.
That the only time they're used is, office space during the week and on, twice a week for services. What about the whole rest of the time? The building just sits empty. Like, I just think that there are creative things that we can do to partner with the community to use those spaces to be better stewards.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Yeah, I don't love it when I attend a church and they don't share anything about how they are being a part of the community.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they save it all up for once a year.
Yeah. Like
really, what's going on? Like, what are we doing? Like, are we helping the local schools? Are we doing something to give back to, like, where, what are we, and why not? Like, why are we not doing more of that?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you that one thing that, that really has turned me off about, a few things in particular is that when you pick an organization in your community and you say that you're going to partner with that organization,
Uh-huh.
I think that it's probably helpful that you would actually go forth and do that
Uh-huh.
and to show up and
Uh-huh.
and let that organization know that you are a entity of your word
Yeah.
and that we are going to do what we said we're going to do. There's some things that I learned about a situation that um, for me,
Mm-hmm.
when I say that I'm going to help, I want to help, but a lot of times I'm going to put a time frame on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that time frame allows me an out for at that point, if it's not working, then I can say, okay, well, I did what I said I was going to do. Um, but it's not working. We can't find the people. We don't have the resources, whatever the case may be. But I still did what I committed to do.
Right.
And I don't love being a part of a church who has openly said to another ministry who is going out and being the hands and feet of Jesus that we're going to help you and that we're going to partner with you and this is how we're going to partner with you and we're actually going to the months that there's a fifth Sunday, we're going to give you the tithes and offerings on that fifth Sunday. And then it never happened.
Never.
Never happened.
Mm-hmm.
There was never an offering taken up for that. There was never any support. The congregation wasn't encouraged to go and do that. And that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I didn't sign up for that. The leaders of the church signed up for that.
Yeah.
That's not good. And that does not make you helping. That doesn't make you a part of the community because you said you were going to help. What makes you a part of the community is showing up and physically doing what you said you were going to do as a church.
Yeah.
I don't love that.
Yeah, I don't love that either.
That's happened more than once.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a part of a same situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't love lack of mutual respect. I don't love the elitism of the leadership. So here's just a quick story. So I was part of a local church, and we were sponsoring a school or collecting school supplies or something along those lines. And I was counting them to keep track of what we had of what items one Sunday morning. And there was another lady there, and she was just kind of talking to me while I was counting everything. And when the pastor and his wife walked in, she walked over to us and felt some kind of way that we didn't get up and greet her when she walked in the room. Yeah, silence, like right there, audience silence.
Cricket.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Like when you walked into the room, I don't know why there was an expectation that I'm supposed to get up off the floor from where I'm over there counting all this stuff to just say hello to you. If you want to say hello to me, I'm right here. Just walk right over and say hello. Like, why is it all that? Yeah, I don't love that. And I truly believe in servant leadership. Like,
servant leadership, not being served.
Right. Okay, Jesus.
Because the queen hasn't walked in the room.
Oh my goodness. I got so many lessons in that season about honor. Okay, I don't have a problem with honor. I don't have a problem being the last one to leave. I don't have a problem running the vacuum, cleaning the toilets, or any of that stuff. None. I do have a problem, I think, when it's expected of me.
Yes.
Not when it's appreciated that it happened. Maybe that's the deal. Like, I don't love it when, I don't know, just be regular people. Like, don't put yourself somewhere else. Like, there's nothing ever wrong with you. Everything's always perfect. No, stop that. You set the bar so high, the rest of us can't ever reach it because my life doesn't look like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't love that persona.
Yeah.
Because what it does is it doesn't offer room for grace. There's no room for grace and mercy when I mean, for lack of a better word, then when people have that holier than thou
Yeah.
persona, it does not allow for me to be who I'm called to be, because I will never measure up to your so-called perfection.
Yeah.
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 Which leads me into mental health in the church.
That's a good place to take it.
Listen, people are suffering.
Yeah.
Really. And especially the last year.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. In the middle of a pandemic, people are being challenged in their lives financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically, all of that, relationally, maritally. And we have, as the church, we have to be able to be transparent and openly talk about the matters of life, because the matters of life are matters of the heart, and God cares about those things.
Yeah.
And when we don't allow those topics of conversation to come into the four walls of the church, we are absolutely doing a disservice to the people under the sound of their voice.
Yeah.
We really are. And listen, I just need to say that there are so many times that a Bible verse has gotten me through a moment, a season, whatever, but there are some times that that's just not enough.
Right.
It's just not enough. And then that brings us back around to pastoral counseling, because you're not equipped, just because you're the leader of a church, to counsel someone who is suicidal. And I'm sorry, but your Bible verse can't help right now. It's not helping right now. And I know that sounds like that doesn't even sound compassionate, but it's the truth.
Right.
I mean, I have experienced that, like not myself, but someone I love.
Yeah.
And your Bible verse wasn't enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not to say it all. Okay. So, audience, we're not saying that Jesus is not enough. Okay.
Right.
We're not saying that.
No, not at all.
I don't want you to hear that through whatever filter you're listening through, because I can see that happening. So that's not what we're saying. We're saying that anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts and panic
And
attacks,
strife in your marriage, and being a parent, and being a business owner,
that all of that matters and it's real. And there are seasons that we need to seek out someone to talk to professionally. There are seasons that we may need medication. There are seasons that you may need all of that. Okay. We need to practice self-care and self-compassion, and we need to practice empathy with others. And it's a whole thing. It's not, we'll just pray this first, you'll be okay. No, I won't be okay right yet. I won't be okay yet. I wasn't okay for months. Okay. I cried every single flipping day for months. I wasn't okay. I had to get help. And I did get help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But mental health cannot be taboo in the church community. Okay. I was attending a church, and I honestly believe the only time I ever heard the leaders of the church talk about mental health was when there was a well-known pastor, Jared Wilson, who committed suicide. And it was mentioned 3 days after that happened. We were in church, and it was mentioned. And honestly, I think it would be safe to say that I posted something on Facebook about it, and I shared my heart about mental health and about church the day after I found out that Jared Wilson had committed suicide. And he was a well-known pastor, a husband, a father, and he struggled. He struggled his whole life with depression and suicidal ideations and anxiety and PTSD and yeah, these topics cannot be taboo in the church.
Right.
They just can't. They just can't.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why we have topics that are taboo in the church when it's supposed to be our family and it's where we do life. And, that's like sex and marriage are taboo too, because we sure would hate to put the thoughts in anybody's mind. Do you live in 2021 with me? Like, if you're just driving down the street, okay? I'm just saying. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, like, I don't know what the answer is. Like, I really don't.
Right.
Other than we have to be transparent about the issues of life because God cares for that. He does.
And he has answers and solutions and strategies for that are going to be different for everybody. We don't live in a one size fits all world. So where the scripture got you through on some days and not on other days, okay, the scripture may be all that somebody needs. Okay. Right. The other person may need medication. Somebody else may need, to start an exercise routine because that releases enough endorphins that it changes their situation. Somebody may need to leave a relationship to change, right?
Yes.
I mean, like, we're all so completely unique that's why this, like, I'm just going to say, beware of any leader that tells you they hear from God for you better than you hear from God for you.
Okay, now you need to say that one more time for the people in the back and a little bit louder.
Beware of any leader who tells you or even alludes to the fact that they hear from God for you better than you hear from God for yourself. Yeah. That has happened to me. It has happened to my daughter.
Yes.
That is spiritual abuse. It's not okay. The veil was ripped when Jesus was on the cross to give us direct access to God, not another person. Now, can other people hear with you? Okay, I'll give you that. But it should confirm something you already know.
That's right. It's a confirmation.
It should never be what I hear, KJ, for you is this, and that's not what you hear, but you should listen to what I'm saying. No, you need to go home and ask the Lord for clarity and for confirmation, and you need to sit with him and hear for yourself. That's and guess what? You might not always get it right. You might not.
Might not. And
there's enough.
And he knows. There's enough grace for that.
There's enough grace for that. Yeah.
I'll never forget the first time you told me that. I was telling you about a situation where God had instructed me to do something and I didn't want to do it. And for 2 weeks, like, I was miserable. And then God brought it back to my attention. And then I went and did that thing. And you told me that there's enough grace for that, and that he already knew that I wasn't going to do it the first time, and that I was going to have to build on, like, really commune with him, and then I would, get it right. But that he knows when, he looks at us from our future back, so he already knows when we're going to,
Yeah, nothing catches him by surprise. And so when I'm stubborn, or he knows it's going to take me a long time to learn a lesson, he already knows. Like, I can't screw it up so bad that it can't be fixed.
That's right. And he's so patient and gentle. And
now, are there consequences in my screwing it up? There very well could be.
There could be.
Okay. But again, not so much that he can't fix it.
Yeah. Because there's enough grace for all that.
Yeah. Okay. I have another one.
Okay.
I am getting to the end of my list, though.
Me too.
When we ordain people to give them a title and we call them pastors, but really they're just leaders because they don't have a shepherd's heart and they're not really pastoring anybody. They're just leading. I don't love that. And I probably have a great problem with that. I've seen that so many times.
That's interesting. So you're saying that, like, where church leaders put other leaders in a position that they don't have the heart for.
Well, in order for them to be in it, leading it, they have to have a title, because we have to have a title. We can't just lead stuff. We have to have titles.
Oh,
And so they need to be a pastor to lead it. So we ordain them. We give them the title of pastor, but they're not really pastoring anybody.
right.
They don't have a
What
shepherd.
does being ordained mean anyway?
I don't know. Ask me what being licensed means, because I am, and I don't know what that means either.
Oh,
yeah.
licensed to do what?
I don't really know. Well, it was supposed to be part of a process to getting ordained, because that's what we thought that's what we were supposed to be doing. And there was no clear path for that. And there was no clear education for that. And there was no clear conversations about where it was going or what that was going to really look like. And so Tim and I are both licensed ministers. I don't really even know what that means. I don't really know. I have a certificate.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say.
I don't either.
I don't know what to say.
So I don't love titles. I don't think titles are important. I especially don't love it when you meet someone and like I've been corrected before because of their title. Like I've introduced two people to each other, and when I say, hey, this is Joe and this is my friend Bob, and Bob would be like, you mean Pastor Bob? Or like correct me and throw their title in there. Like I don't need your title. It doesn't matter to me. Like
Right.
I respect that you earned. Like I can respect a position. If you have to tell me what your title is to correct somebody, I probably don't respect it. Actually, I'll just be honest with that.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have any.
Yeah, because obviously that title is
Yeah.
very important to you.
Yeah, and I probably people matter to me. Titles don't matter to me.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And just then just do the thing. Okay, so if you're a pastor, then just pastor people. Love people, okay? Who cares about your title? Jesus never had a title. Rabbi, teacher, some people called him. I mean,
But he didn't call himself that.
no. Okay. And I think on that note, we were talking earlier, and so I did write this down. We were talking before we started recording about the title thing. And I think I actually let people talk me into a place that wasn't my calling. Because I'm a teacher, because I'm a leader. And those two things, I'm not going to say come easy to me, but I can't help but do them. Like I can't help.
Because that's your calling.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely who I am. So being in an environment that is church related, then to some people that equaled like preaching, and that's not who I am. Like I'm just not that. I am a teacher. I love to teach. I love to teach to large groups. Like I'm good with that. But I'm never gonna be the preacher.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
So I did, I saw a post a couple of weeks ago that really piqued my interest.
Oh, what was it?
And actually there's a couple of them. But this one in particular is from a lady who I follow, and you do too, Glennon Doyle.
Uh-huh.
And so I think when we, a lot of times churches or leaders of the church will put God into a context of man,
Oh, I remember this post.
as in he.
Yes.
And a lot of times we refer to God as Father,
Mm-hmm.
and I've heard people refer to him as Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say that there have been times in my life where I needed some mothering from God. Okay.
Right.
And so I used to think that was a train of thought where that was not correct.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I can't think of God as a mothering God.
Right.
He's a nurturing God. And
Right.
see, even I am prone to use the pronoun he.
Yeah, because that's what
we've always done, right? So, but when Glennon Dole posted this on her social media account, I thought, this is so profound.
Are you going to read it?
I am. And it's it was right on for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's going to be some people who don't understand this and who will not agree with me. But when we think of who God is to us, he's a friend. And but sometimes also he's my mom.
Right.
And sometimes also he's my dad.
Right.
And because that's whatever I need for that particular time or specific whatever, when I'm communing with him.
Right.
So I really tried to be cognizant of that. Like, okay, God, who do you want to be for me now?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a mother figure, a father figure, a friend? But I just want to read this to you and read this for our listeners. So I'm not sure who actually wrote this, but it does say the author was Glennon Dole. Okay, so it said, Girl Gods. Glennon refers to God as she. Why do you believe that God's a female? And Glennon says, well, I don't. I think it's ridiculous to think of God as anything that could be possibly gendered. But as long as the expression of God as a female is unimaginable to many, while the expression of God as a male feels perfectly acceptable, as long as women continue to be undervalued and abused and controlled here on earth, I'll just keep using God as a girl.
Wow.
Yeah. So, have we been trained to say that God is a he because of a whole
patriarchic system?
Yes, system of oppression that is driven by men?
I mean, yeah. I mean, okay. I hope our listeners don't throw me in the fire for this, but the Bible was written in a very patriarchal system. Most of the women that are even mentioned were never even given a name. Very few women are even called by their name.
Right.
And I think it's hard for us to see that that was a man thing and not a God thing. Because to God, every one of them have a name.
That's right.
So we have to remember the culture in which those things were written. Women were property. I mean, it just was. And so to even get a name is an amazing feat in any of the stories. Or she's known by being someone's daughter, such and such's daughter, but we never even have a name, but it reminds me of the Shack, because, in the Shack, God was a woman.
Yes.
She was a Black woman.
Yes.
And that book caught all kinds of criticism because people couldn't deal with the fact that God was a woman or that God was a Black woman. And I loved it so much. And when you read the story, that God, the word of God says that he'll be all things to all people. He is what
all
you
things.
need him to be.
Yeah.
And in the story, Mac couldn't have God as a father because he had such a broken father, an
Yeah.
abusive father. And if God had appeared to him as a father, Mac would have never received him.
So good.
He had to receive him as a mother because he had relationship with his mother. And that's how God showed to him until the very end. And in the very end, God then is a man, because in that sense, then Matt can handle God being a man.
Right.
Yeah. I also, will remind our listeners that in the book of Proverbs, the word wisdom is always referred to as she.
Yes.
Is that to say that he doesn't have wisdom? No.
No.
In Genesis, God created male and female, both in his image. It means that he has both male and female within him. So I think that you call him him. See, I do it too. I think you call God whatever you need God to be for you, for it to make sense in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so profound though, because it actually gave me permission to say, okay, like he doesn't always have to be a father for me,
Right.
because I know that there are so many things he wants to be for me when
Right.
I allow him. And so, I just love that. I really do.
Glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Well, and two, Graham Cook taught us that when we're going through something, we always ask God, who is it that you want to be for me in this
Yes.
season?
Yeah.
And so we perceive that as, what character do you want to teach me? But, who do you need to be for me in this season?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. I love that.
I do too.
Okay.
That's who I learned that from, was Graham Cook.
Yeah. Ideal church. What are you looking for? What would be ideal?
Transparent leaders,
Uh-huh.
a diverse congregation,
And staff and
staff.
and on the platform and in the parking
Yes.
lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Same.
Yes. Mhm.
Yep. Check.
Yeah. A place made for worship where everybody worships. Like, it's not for entertainment. It's not for spectacle. It's, that the worship leaders worship, that, they're just not there singing, they're worshiping.
Right. Which is a very different thing.
It's a very different thing, because of what I think that says is that, okay, now I'm not just here to keep you engaged and to keep you entertained. I'm here to worship, and I really want you to worship with me. That's yeah. And it's huge when you attend a church where the worshipers are full on worshiping.
Yeah.
Like, that's an atmosphere you cannot recreate without that.
Yeah. I would like a safe place to, what I'll say in our air quotes, practice the presence of God.
Yes.
Because I think we have to teach people how to practice the presence of God. We have to teach to hear God's voice. We have to teach how to sit with yourself, how to rightly hear, and to know what is it you're hearing. Whose voice are you hearing? Because there's lots of voices. How do you determine whose voice? And then to be able to practice that, if you hear things prophetically, a safe place to practice that. I learned, and really through teaching communication, that we hear God through our own filter.
Yes.
So like I said before, I'm super grace heavy. I'm going to hear God in a grace heavy kind of way. When I was doing church with people who were more legalistic, they heard God through a more legalistic lens. I think we have to bounce that off the word, bounce that off the character of Christ. We have to do that with wise people. But people that are teaching us how to trust the Holy Spirit within us, not trust them. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
And not that we shouldn't trust them, but the point of the exercise is not to teach me to trust you. It's to teach me to trust me in hearing God.
Yeah.
And interpreting whatever that is for my life.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And when you talk about practicing the presence, like some people that looks different for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, that might look like tears.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be in a place that is so safe, that understands the presence of God, so much so that if I have tears, people aren't staring. If I have tears, the leaders don't automatically think I need to come to the altar and hands need to be laid on me. Okay. That if I have tears and I have running mascara down my face, that people don't come up to me and say, is everything all right? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm great. Like, but that's sometimes that's how I worship.
Yeah.
I worship with my tears, and it has nothing to do with anything but that I feel the presence of the Lord. And
Right.
just because you don't worship like that or you don't understand my worship doesn't mean that there's a problem and that that my life is devastated
Yeah.
because I have tears. Yeah,
Or
I
that,
don't.
yeah.
That is so embarrassing. It's really embarrassing to be in that position and then all of us like I'm worshiping. I'm not recognizing that I have tears. I just know I need a tissue, but I'm worshiping. And I it's like, are you okay? Oh my gosh, you have mascara running down your face. Like I quit wearing mascara to church
Because it was distracting other people.
because it was so distracting to other people. And look, if you don't feel the presence of the Lord, that ain't none of my business, but I do. And I need to be able to feel safe to worship the way that I please and to worship
Yeah.
freely.
So
If that hold on a second. Hold on a second. I need to back up on that
okay.
because I do because I do I mean, I do think there needs to be a little bit of control when you talk about worship because I don't ever want to do anything that would distract you or the person
Sure.
beside me from worshiping. But if I'm worshiping and you're not and you're staring at me because I'm crying, you should have just stayed home anyway.
No, don't be shitting on people.
I know, I'm sorry. but do you understand where I'm coming from? Like
I do.
yeah,
Or when the person that's on the platform is exhorting you to worship and telling you how to do it, as if your worship is not good enough. You need to be louder and bigger. And like I'm not a jump around kind of girl. I'm just not
right,
going to do that. That's not how I worship.
right.
That's not me being prideful. That's not it's just not how God and I do.
Not you.
It's not. I
Yeah.
want to be quiet. I usually want to get down on my knees and on my face and just let me be. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't love that when we try to tell people how to do it. Just lead by example.
Yeah.
Again, let God be God. Just let
Yeah.
him be God.
Yeah.
He'll teach and train for himself.
Yeah.
Just let people feel safe to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And be happy to see everybody that you come across when you walk into that building. If you got yourself up in the morning and you got dressed and you're physically going to church, I mean, do you have to look do you got to have a stanky face, to do that? Like,
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So to add to your list, these are some things we've already talked about, but welcoming to all people,
Yes.
authentic, real relationships. Like it's okay to do life together. It's okay for you to be in charge and have a problem. I don't see you as less than a leader because you have a struggle. Okay. Not wasting the space, like letting the space be used multi-purposefully. Not needing to have it all together. So that's my ideal place. So listeners, if you go to that place, tell us where it is. Tell us where it is. And if you learned something from this or if you had an aha moment and you know, I these are hard conversations and I don't know that we could have had this conversation with as openly and easily as we've had it together with someone who was a prior ministry leader that we sat with, maybe.
Yeah.
I wish I could. I don't
I
feel like
wish I could.
it would have been received, and I think it would have been more that person trying to defend all the things than really listening to our experience.
Yeah.
And again, not
Yeah.
that I'm saying that it has to be the way I think it should be. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Yeah. This has been good.
It has been good.
Really good. We love Jesus, y'all.
We do. We do. I have quiet time. I pray, I meditate, I read my Bible. I still teach discipleship to students. Like, it's one of my favorite things. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right.
So listeners, if you have any questions or you have anything that you want to add to this, if you have topics that would relate to this conversation that you would like to for us to discuss, let us know. Let us hear from you, because we're very interested in what you have to say when it comes to things you don't understand about the church, or reasons why you left the church. So yeah, this has been really good.
It has been really good. So thank you for listening. We hope you have an amazing day, the best day that is available for you.
Thanks for listening, y'all.
Hey, you guys, we just want to say thank you today. We want to thank our listeners and those of you that have subscribed to the Simple Conversations podcast. Friends, thanks.
Hey y'all, this is KJ from Simple Conversations, where grace meets strength. Thank y'all so much for listening and tuning in. If it weren't for y'all, there would be no reason for us to do this. Listen, we need your help. We need your support. So head on over to patreon.com/Simple Conversations and decide exactly how you want to be involved. For $5 a month, you would get access to behind the scenes content. For $25 a month, you would get that, as well as a shout out on the podcast or fan input. As a supporter for $50 a month, you would get all that in the previous 2 tiers, as well as a one-time gift or book that Alice and I have read or are reading that we think would add value to your life. Or for $100 a month, we consider you family. You ever heard that before? That's friends that are so good that we consider you family. So you would get everything in the previous 3 tiers, as well as exclusive branded merchandise from Simple Conversations. So listen, our heart's desire is to do more and to be more. And so in order for us to do that, we need help. And so we're dependent on you to help us make that happen. So thanks for tuning in, and thanks for your support. See y'all.